Welcome to the Thick and Spooky Ghouls podcast, where we discuss all things strange, paranormal, and unexplained.
These episodes are live recorded on Twitch and cut to fit Spotify's format. If you want to catch us live, we do our podcast once a month on Twitch.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a special Valentine's Day episode with Daku and GinjaNinja, who is coming to rejoin us for this special episode. So we hope you enjoy this episode. And I'm pretty excited about it. So let's get into it. I am truly excited because it is going to be my first time covering an SCP, and Jinja didn't know what SCPs are either. So we're both going to experience this for the first time. So happy Valentine's Day, everybody. We hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, Jinja.
Hello. Welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you. Thanks for doing this with me. I tend to drag you into random episodes for special holidays, but I figured Valentine's Day would be a very good excuse to do a podcast episode with you.
SCP, it sounds like someone's going to fly in with like a helicopter, like propelling, and someone's going to take somebody. That's what it sounds like.
Okay, so I think you, even if you're not into creepy stuff like I am, and you're not into SCPs like me and Miso are, I think you'll still really enjoy this one. So this special episode is for Valentine's Day, and I wanted to cover an SCP, and Miso has covered a couple SCPs in the episode, and she just seemed like she had so much fun covering them, and they're just so weird and so cool that I'm just like, I want to take a whack at it and give it a shot. So I decided now would be a good time to do it, and I looked up different SCPs, and I actually found one that is very much related to Valentine's Day. So, of course, I went with that one.
Awesome. First of all, let's start at the beginning. What is an SCP? Can we start there?
For those of you guys that don't know what an SCP is, an SCP is a special containment procedure. That's what it means. And there's a SCP Foundation, and they're the ones that keep records of all these weird anomalies. And they're the ones that actually secure, contain, protect. That's what it is. They secure it, they contain it, and they protect it. And so that's what the anomalies are. So special containment procedures for some unknown anomalies that are of the supernatural and weird in the weird. So it's like a split between reality and fiction. Like it's like
interesting.
Yeah. So
reminds me of when you say that, it reminds me of Ghostbusters when they're catching how they catch the ghosts in those boxes or whatever.
Okay, so that's actually a really good. Yeah, let's say that the SCP is like the Ghostbusters, where they contain anomalies, and they learn about each anomaly, and then they have different containments based on how that anomaly is, right? So that's what an SCP is. And Miso has covered a couple of them, and the only reason I even learned about SCPs is because someone that visited our episode a couple episodes back mentioned them, and I had no idea what they were. So Miso then covered a couple, and that's how I came to do this, right? So for me, I decided that for me covering SCP and Valentine's Day, that this was like the perfect choice. And so I am covering SCP-6069, and they are also known as Cupids Angels. And I found it very interesting because imagine a modern day Cupid, like Cupid with the bow and arrow, and he shoots people to make them fall in love, right?
Okay.
So basically, just imagine a modern day Cupid, but instead of a bow and arrow, it's equipped with a sniper rifle.
Oh, God.
And so after reading about this, I was just like, okay, this is the perfect SCP for me to cover for Valentine's Day. It's fun, it's cute, and wow. I have to edit some coughing out here. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Gonna have a lot of.
Whew. All right, so I decided to cover Cupid's Angels, And so Cupid's Angels, aka SCP-6069, are actually categorized and they belong in a Thaumiel class. The Thaumiel class is a highly classified SCP Foundation object used to contain or counteract other dangerous anomalies, which are known as Ketters. So basically, the Thaumiel classes are the ones that protect the world from Ketters, which are the end of the world scenarios and end of the world things. So basically, they are essential for preventing the end of the world scenarios. So that's what the Thaumiel class is. And SCP-6069, aka Cupid's Angels, would belong in the Thaumiel class for that one. And in the occult or lore, it represents the twins of God, which is the Klipothic, which is the opposite of the Ketters. So that's what the Thaumiel class is. So that's what it's categorized, and like its class categorization is Thaumiel. And so before we get into this story, I have to give you descriptions of the 3 anomalies that are involved with this whole incident, right? So the first one is SCP-6069A. And this is a corpse of an entity who is composed of Akiva energy and resembles a human male in its early 30s. And for those of you guys that don't know what Akiva energy is a type of energy that is emitted by godlike creatures. So it's a energy signature that is carried by godlike creatures. That's what the Akiva energy is. So this particular anomaly is composed has that energy, that Akiva energy, right? And so this specific entity, SCP-6069A, has 2 red wings that protrude from its back, and it measures about 1 meter in height, and it has about a wingspan of 2.5 meters. And the wings are conformed by genetically similar, are conformed to be kind of similar to birds, belonging to the Columbidae family. So SCP-6069A is dressed in a purple medieval style tunic and with some breeches, and has a crown constructed from pure gold. And then it has an abundant amount of gunshot wounds present all over it.
Oh my goodness.
This specific anomaly has bullet wounds all over him.
Yeah.
All over him.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll get to that. All right, so the second anomaly is known as SCP-6069B, which is a modified sniper rifle colored in the shades of light pink, dark red, and royal purple. It has a lot of artistic engravings. Of roses. It has like the rose prints everywhere. So it's got like this gun has beautiful roses everywhere. As do you remember when we would play Borderlands and we would get the rifles, specifically the sniper rifles from Handsome Jack's company? You know how they have like that beautiful like design on the muzzle of the gun. So imagine this gun just being in that style with a bunch of roses all over it.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And it's like I said, it's light pink, dark red, and royal purple. So of course it's all the colors that I like.
Badass.
And so the whole of the muzzle and trigger guard are shaped in the style of a cartoon heart. So the muzzle of the gun is shaped like a heart, and then the trigger guard is shaped like a heart. So and then a bow composed of sinew is wrapped around the stock, and it has been resistant to being untied or damaged. SCP-609B is capable of accepting any type of ammunition, and it does not recoil when you pull the trigger. And previously, SCP-6069 had been taken the form of a wooden recurve bow accompanied by a quiver of arrows with the heart-shaped tips before morphing into its current form. SCP-6069 can only be operated by SCP-6069-C, and any other individuals that will try and use this weapon will fail. So originally this weapon was a bow and arrow, but it got transferred over to SCP-6069-C, and it transformed into a sniper rifle. So it was a bow with an arrow, and now it's got it's a sniper rifle. I think it's a really freaking cool thing. So that's SCP.
Yeah.
That's the second anomaly. And so now we're going to talk about the third anomaly, which is SCP-6069-C. And so SCP-6069-C was actually a former security guard for the SCP Foundation named Ezekiel Todd. And he was employed at Site-43 for over 3 years prior to his SCP classification. SCP-6069-C possesses the same wing structure as SCP-6069-A and has demonstrated limited dexterity and proficiency in flying due to the lack of experience. So even though he has wings, he doesn't know how to really use them, you know?
Yeah, minor detail.
And so SCP-6069-C constantly emits low levels of Akiva radiation, which exponentially increases whenever the subject is wielding SCP-6069-B. So he has low levels of Akiva energy, but when he is equipped with SCP-6069-C, or B, which is his sniper, his energy goes up. And he is also unperceivable by the human eye, who is not associated with the SCP Foundation. So he basically is not, you can't see him by the naked eye unless you work for the SCP Foundation. So he's pretty much like invisible to anyone else that he's around. And when SCP-6069-C uses SCP-6069-B to fire at 2 or more sentient beings, said beings will form romantic attachments towards each other, leading to the formation of intimate relationships if left uninterrupted. So whenever he shoots individuals with this gun, they will fall in love. SCP-6069-C is innately able to sense when and where its presence is needed or required to initiate the bonding process. SCP-6069-B is capable of nullifying its capacity of causing physical harm if certain measures are taken with SCP-6069-C. So that's just the 3 anomalies that we're going to talk about, right? So you're like, nice. What is all of this about? Why are we talking about these 3 things? And so they're all categorized in SCP-6069 overall. So now that I've introduced you to all of the players in this story, well, not all of the players, but the main players in the story, let's talk about how this all actually came to be. All right. So on February 14, 2021, an anomaly known as SCP-6069-A managed to break into Site-43 undetected by the Foundation's personnel. So it was able to breach security. It was able to come inside without being sensed by the personnel. And so SCP-6069 flew around until he finally set his eyes on Dr. Nicholas Can and Dr. Helen Dre. And seeing that they are the targets required, SCP-6069-A aimed their weapon, SCP-6069-B, at the doctors. But Ezekiel Todd, who was security and doing his secure rounds, was walking around, and he was actually walking around with some new Oculus goggles. So he's got, like, he was doing his usual security walk, and he had Oculus goggles that he was wearing. So while he was doing his rounds, he witnessed SCP-6069 aiming its weapon, SCP-6069-B, at the doctors Can and doctors Dre. And so Ezekiel Todd aimed his weapon at the unknown anomaly or unknown entity and yelled, "Drop your weapon." The two doctors, completely confused as to why this security guard is yelling at them, were like, we don't have weapons. And again, Todd yells, drop your weapons now. So he yelled a second time, and the winged anomaly looked towards Todd and aimed an arrow at him, and a pink light started to emit from its chest, and it actually started to fill this hallway with this bright pink light. So this like it's like a blinding pink light. It's like a pink flash, you know? So this hallway was lit up by this entity while it was taking aim at Todd. So Todd, unable to see, shot his weapon multiple times. And multiple rounds were shot at the entity, and the entity was immediately terminated. After being shot, it caused the winged creature to collapse on the floor, which then was allowed to be seen by the naked eyes. So the doctors were able to see who Todd was aiming at and who Todd shot at. So this alerted the security system for Site 43, and a security team was mobilized to go to the area where the incident happened. And so when they got there, the security found the three anomalies, which is SCP-6069 A, B, and C. C is currently Todd, right? And so they found them in the pataphysical wing of their facility. What were you saying?
No, I was just agreeing, acknowledging.
Okay. So SCP-609A and SCP-609B were taken into the containment unit, and Ezekiel Todd was placed in a temporary holding cell while they conducted research and tried to figure out what happened and why this incident happened. And they were just trying to figure out, whoa, what happened? So fortunately, the goggles that the security was wearing actually managed to record the incident. And the footage showed everything that happened. And so the footage actually attracted high interest from the people in the theology and teleology department due to the entity's origins. Okay? So after this incident happened, on February 15, 2021, several sites reported that the divorce rate across the world had dramatically increased without apparent cause, other than there were lots of fighting that happened the day before, which was on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Director McInnes issued an emergency meeting inviting a handful of select personnel, including Ezekiel Todd. And the results of the meeting concluded that the winged anomaly is of Romanian origins, male, had wings, and heart-shaped imagery present on its weapon, and was primarily only active during the month of February. They established that Ezekiel Todd had killed a god known as Cupid. So SCP-6069A is Cupid, is what they established from their research. And after doing that, they established that Todd killed Cupid.
That's crazy.
And so, upon the god's termination, it actually passed on its complete essence into the person that killed him, which was Ezekiel Todd. And because of that, Ezekiel Todd's appearance actually changed, and that's how he gained wings. Is originally he was just a human male doing security, but after the incident with the bright pink glow happened, he kind of morphed and he gained some wings. So Ezekiel Todd gained some wings. So during this emergency meeting, they established that he killed Cupid, who was the god of love, and this is actually something that would cause the end of the world because, you know, love is like an important thing for peace and everything else, right? So it was something extremely bad and kind of dangerous for everyone in the world. But since Ezekiel Todd managed to gain the abilities of SCP-6069A, aka Cupid, he was asked to step down from security and was designated as SCP-6069C. They had a conversation with him, and he said that he was unfamiliar with using a bow and arrow, and he was more comfortable using weapons such as sniper rifles, and he was very proficient with sniper rifles. So they decided that he will take on the task of Cupid, and the weapon was then changed, and it morphed into a sniper rifle, which is what he uses rather than the bow and arrow, because he was more proficient with a sniper rifle.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So he had to step down from security. He then became SCP-6069C. That is what he's categorized as now. And he just became Cupid, but with a sniper rifle. So he was deployed on several assignments to great success. And he was given a handful of agents who were tasked with assisting and protecting him while he would do his missions. And eventually, he was assigned specifically to Agent Khan and Agent Donovan due to the fact that they have so much familiarity with him. So, despite the success of SCP-6069C, the Theology and Teleology Department had other plans. So on July 12th, 2021, the Theology and Teleology Department devised a breakthrough for transferring the anomalous capabilities of SCP-6069C onto other Foundation personnel. This process involved SCP-6069C pressing a finger against the chest where the heart is located and concentrating a small portion of his Akiva energy onto these individuals. And they were then designated as SCP-6069D, aka Cupids Angels. So individuals SCP-6069D do not possess SCP-609C's flight or innate knowledge, but they do possess a lesser version of its anti-memetic qualities and are able to mark individuals via physical contact. Finger guns.
Oh, finger guns.
Hence, Project Heartstring was formed, leading the creation of MTF Alpha 214, which is Cupid's Angels. MTF Alpha 214 is tasked with marking designated targets with assistance from SCP-6069C in relaying location information. Then, SCP-6069C was also promoted to be the captain of MTF Alpha 214, aka Cupid's Angels, through proper training and was authorized to be deployed outside of Canada. With current estimates, it's predicted that the CK scenarios will be fully reversed by 2035. So, due to the new system that they created, which is Project Heartstring, Agent Donovan and Agent Khan were actually taken off SCP-6069C's taken off of the SCP-609 assignment, and they were allowed to actually go back to their normal duties. But they did have permission to have visitation rights with SCP-6069C because Agent Donovan and Agent Khan kind of formed a bond with SCP-6069. So it's kind of like a big bond that they have. And so they're actually able to see SCP-6069 bi-monthly. And that is SCP-6069, aka Cupid's Angels.
That's awesome. I love it.
I thought it was pretty freaking cool. I thought it was pretty fun. And I find it interesting. And so yeah, that was my first time covering an SCP. What did you think?
I like that Cupid's weapons like assimilate to whoever takes over.
Well, it's not just whoever takes over, because of the fact it's kind of like the Santa Claus situation where where he ended up hurting Santa, so he got Santa's abilities. So I think there's only one person that can actually wield that weapon, and that is the person with the Akiva energy of Cupid. And so SCP-6069A, which is Cupid, is actually kept in a freezing containment area and that's where it's being stored right now. So they have the body frozen in one of their facilities, which is in Site 43. But yeah, so that was my very first one, and it really was a lot of fun doing this research. I really enjoyed SCPs. And I was kind of like, it started off a little weird because it starts off very much like it gives you a breakdown of what they are, but it doesn't tell you the situation until you later on read further and you're like, oh, okay, so basically they give you a breakdown of all those involved, and then you get to know the story of how those came to be. But I just thought that this was a really fun one for Valentine's Day, and it definitely fit my interest for sure. So I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah! Anyways, happy Valentine's Day, sweetie.
Happy Valentine's Day.
So I hope you guys all enjoyed that. I hope you had fun. Yeah, this was a really, really fun one. And if you guys wanted us to do more SCPs, just let us know, because this is fun. We do have the next podcast episode, which is going to be on February 22nd. So we'll be live on Twitch on February 22nd for our episode in February. I'm really excited for the other topic that I'm covering on that one, and I hope you guys also enjoy it. So let's go ahead, and Jinja, do you want to do the closing with me?
Closing. Remind me.
All right, so what we're going to do the sign off. And so I'm going to say, we'll stay thick, and then you're going to say, you stay spooky.
You stay spooky.
All right, let me get the coughing out of the way here. All right, are you ready?
I know, me too. Yeah, let's go.
Let's clear our throats real quickly. You ready?
All right, go.
All right, we'll stay thick.
And you stay spooky.